Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Today I want to show you how you can create this epic intro to your videos. So one of the things I really like on some of the videos that I've seen is the black bars that come down to give it that more cinematic, kind of wide angle kind of image. So let's dive into Canva and show you exactly how you can do this inside of Canva. So just on the home page, we're going to start off with a video template. I'm just going to start off with a normal 1920 by 1080 video template. You can go bigger, smaller. You can use this on any size template that you want, but I'm going to use this because that's the standard kind of size template that I'm used to working with. Now, the first thing we want to be able to create on this is the actual bars. So I'm just going to come over to the square here. I'm going to add this on and I'm going to come in. I'm going to decide how much I want these bars to come down by. So let's say I want them to come down by around about 200. If you zoom in a little bit more, you can be a little bit more accurate. So that's our first bar. Obviously, we need to just change this to a black bar, and we're then going to just duplicate that. So we've got the same height and size on the other side. Now this is where the magic happens, and I want to thank Roger from My Social Designer for this trick. I really like this trick that he figured out on how to be able to animate on things that are actually off the page. So thank you, Roger, for that tip. I'll link down below to his Instagram. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually come in, we're going to add a second bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to use, this can go anywhere on here. We want it to just connect to this top bar. And we're going to just group these items together. We're then going to click on the second element because we don't want this to show, but we're going to highlight that, and then we're going to change the transparency down to 0. And that's really key because we don't want it to show, but by connecting these two items together, it actually allows us to push this bar off the page to then be able to animate it on the page. And I'm going to show you how you can animate it on the page in a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to just lift that up and just off the page. It's going to be just the other side of the page. So there we can see we can still click it. If we hadn't added that bar and we'd taken it off the page, it kind of like just removes it from the canvas and we can't then drag that down. And we want to do the same with the bottom. So we're going to group those. I'm going to push that down off the page. So we've now got our template ready, but we need to animate them. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually add in a background. So this is the one that I used in the demonstration. We're going to set this video as the background. Now what we want is we want those bars to actually animate on. So we're going to come over to the animate option and we're going to click create an animation. Now this is where it's key. If you hold down the shift key and then drag that down to however far you want it to go. Now there is a trick to doing this. I'm going to show you this other trick to doing this. What we've got here is we've got our rulers and guidelines. So if you don't see those, you're going to come over to File, View Settings and Show Rulers and Guidelines, or click Shift and R. And that's going to allow us to actually put that guideline down to be able to pull that on so we know when to stop with our animation. And then the same with our bottom animation as well. We're going to stop around about there. So again, we're going to take these off the page, and then what we're going to do is come over to Animate, Create Animation, hold down the Shift key, and we're going to pull that down because that's going to, holding down the Shift key keeps it in a straight line. You can see there, that's now going to bring that bar down. And we're going to do exactly the same with the other one, the bottom one. I'm going to click Animate, click Create Animation. Make sure we're clicking on the actual bar, click Animate, click Create Animation, hold down the Shift key and pull that up. We can see we've got that purple line there so we know when to roughly stop. And that's going to allow us to then have those two bars. Now, if you do see that they're not quite right, there's a couple of options we can make sure we're actually checking on here. So if I check both of those, I can tick that I want them to be smooth, and I can then choose them to be animating on at the same time or at the same speed. You can play about with the speed of these. Now, one thing that I've noticed you can't do at the moment is just duplicate one, flip it, and then that to be exactly the same. I've asked them if they're going to be able to do that in the future, so it actually copies all of the details in there and just flips it, because at the moment if you flip it, it kind of just does that animation, but goes the other way still. Doesn't quite work. I have tried that. So there we go. We've got our animations on there, and that's how we've got our cinematic bars inside of Canva. And you can go really wild with this one. You can add some dramatic music. I've got some music that I've uploaded, obviously from Epidemic Sound. I've just added that on there. I can come in, I can choose where I want that video or that sound to start playing from. I can come over to adjust, and I can then choose the part of the music that I want it to come on from. So I want it to come on from about there. Oops. Choose our music. Okay, so there we go. If I now press play on this, I'm just going to copy in and paste that from one that I prepared beforehand. So this font is playlist script, and I've just added an animation on there. So I've just chosen the shift animation, and I can come in, click on the three dots, show timing, and I want this to come on where the bars have finished coming down. So I want it to come on about there. So now when I play this back, and you can play about with the kind of music that you're using. You can play about with the text, the fonts. And if you want to do this the opposite way, so you want the actual bars to just disappear, let me show you exactly how you do that. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to press duplicate on that. So I've got the same items on there. I'm going to remove the text on there. I'm going to come over to the item where we've got our actual path. I'm going to click delete path and then come off that so that there's no animation on there anymore. The same on this one, we'd come in, click delete path. So once you've deleted the path off those, you select the first one, hold down the shift key. Once we click create custom animation, hold down the shift key and you animate that one off the screen. Click done, then come down to the second one, go to animate, create animation, hold down the shift key and then animate that one off the screen. And that's going to allow us to have it animate off the screen. Really simple, really great technique, and thank you very much and bye for now.